let's move on to motorsports. So, motorsports update. This is where we take a segment where we look into Nissan's current motorsports portfolio, its race entries, supported teams, and basically how's everybody doing. Now, Formula E is down right now. Mike, you are the Formula E king that kind of talks about all our stuff here on the show.
Yeah.
Do we have any preseason fun stuff that's kind of going on right now? Now that the season's over.
Well, there is actually. It's funny you mentioned that. Yes. So yes, the 2023 season of Formula E is over. However, pre-testing for the 2024 season is underway. Actually, it just wrapped up last, I think, a week and a half ago. So I'll share the screen. This comes from the NISMO.com news site, which is that Nissan Formula E team continues season 10 preparation with their Valencia test. And so what they're saying here is that preseason testing did take place October 23rd through the 27th. It was at the Circuit Ricardo Torma in Valencia, Spain. Our two drivers, of course, we're talking about Sasha Fenestras and our old friend Oliver Rolland, who is returning for the 2024 season, taking their time getting these cars honed in and feeling comfortable for the season ahead. A little bit of news from the preseason testing. There was actually an incident on the first day, which essentially uh, didn't give us much time to, or many teams at all, really, to do much testing. The incident was not involving Nissan, but it did affect track time in general for all of the teams. It wasn't until later on in the week that we really saw some good results, or we actually had extra time on the track to do testing. What we did see, though, as some of the highlights from the week of testing, is that Oliver Rollin actually was able to set pretty consistently top 10 lap times. His best lap was one of the top 10 pretty consistently throughout the week. So that was a good sign for our team. And then honestly, Sasha Fenestras on one day particularly, he completed it says here 122 laps in one day. He was actually able to make energy management progress with the car. So we are seeing progress um, for the 2024 season. Now, the opening round of the 2024 season starts in Mexico City, January 13th. So that takes us, we're just over 2 months away. So anything that we report between now and then will just be simple test results or any type of news for the team, not exactly race results. But that is Formula E on this one. And Miles, by the way, I do have the next one. So I'm going to do a twofer, but I think you have two right after me as well.
Sure.
So,
Right.
honestly, I wasn't going to report on this one, but it was pretty cool. I saw this today, just today. We want to talk about the Sentra Micra Cup. Now, we all know the 2023 season for the Sentra Cup and Micra Cup is over as well. However, it was today that it was reported that this year's Sentra Cup champion, Mr. Alexander 14, was handed keys to a 2023 Nissan Sentra SR production car. Essentially, a car that he has, the blue one you see here in the pictures. Essentially, from what I'm learning here, one of the perks of winning the Sentra Cup, this grassroots cup, is that for a year you get a Sentra to ride around in, essentially a free car for the year. So this is what he did, taking uh, receiving the keys and receiving the car. He will have this access to this car until the end of the 2024 season. That is until a new champion is crowned next year. Kind of cool perk. I didn't know that, and so that's what I wanted to share. So
He's
apparently,
gonna
if
do
you
a
win
big old
Century
fat
Cup,
burnout as soon as he gets it. Ow!
and it makes me wonder: is it well? And I should know this. The Sentra SR edition. Is there a manual version option? Is it all automatic? I need to look into this too. Yeah, like
Look into it.
it's a comfortable ride though. I think we've had a Sentra as a rental car every once in a while. It's
We beat
nice
up a
ride.
lot of rental cars in our day.
Yeah.
We call them test and tune sessions, but yeah, you know, yeah, I, I feel like we've beaten up all the midship rentals that we can get our hands on from Nissan. But we've always done that where we've kind of like had a good time with them, and I wouldn't mind getting my hands on a Sentra. Actually, maybe I'm gonna hunt for that for the next fun boys
Road
week out.
trip.
Maybe we'll see if I get our hands on a Nissan, and then we'll Sentra, and we'll toss each other the keys. So me, you, and I on, and we'll see if we can have some fun with it. Take it over through the twisties, and really just enjoy it for what it is. So we'll see. So
Sure, sure, man. Now you have the next two, I think, Miles. You've got
yeah,
Super
so
GT.
Super GT just kind of ran out this last round, and it's
Hmm.
now officially over. So I can actually talk to you about some of the things that happen with it. So it's actually pretty good for us. I thought we were going to do a little bit better, but I mean, considering how competitive of a year it was, Nissan didn't do too bad. I actually thought we did pretty darn well when everything was said and done.
Yep.
Now, let me just kind of talk about the last round. So, starting with the 300 class, qualifying day, the GTRs just weren't doing great. I don't know what was going on, but we had horrible placement when it came to the 300 series.
Mm.
14th place, Gainer to Next
Oh man.
GTR. 18th place, the Ponos Gainer GTR. And then 24th place, the Realized Nissan Mechanics Challenge, which is the favorite. It was just, I'm not sure if we
Wow.
have a sandbagging situation or it was just bad luck all around for all the teams, but that's just the way it laid out for the final day. And I apologize for
Okay.
excuse me, for qualifying. Now, when it
Qualifying.
actually came to the actual race on Sunday, a little bit better. Sixth place, the Realized Nissan Mechanic Challenge GTR. Um,
Mm.
that's not a bad placement. They finished in the points. 13th, Gainer Tanex, and 16th, the Ponos Gainer Tanex. Unfortunately, that ended up with the final round for the 300 series. Now,
Mm.
when it came to the 500 series, much different. So when it came to qualifying, Nissan put its best foot forward, especially with the number 3 car. The Nitera Motul Z ended up sitting on the pole.
Woo.
So they actually ended up taking first position in that. Fourth place, the Realize Advan Z did pretty well. Fifth,
Hmm.
Motul Altec Z, which has been all these vehicles have been holding strong all year. And then 10th place, which was one of my favorites, the Morelli Impulse Z. Not doing the best in qualifying, but it is what it is. Now let's go ahead and fast forward to Sunday's race.
Okay.
The second place position was the Motul Altec Z. So they went in from fifth place in qualifying, jumped all the way up to second place. Fourth place, the Morelli Impulse Z, which where they finished when the end of that race. So they
10th to
moved up
4th.
from fifth in qualifying up to fourth in the actual race.
Mm.
And then the Nitera Z, who sat on the pole for the qualifying, jumped down all the way to 13th place,
Oh my God.
finishing out there. Just a bad day for them all around.
Mm.
They had some setbacks, but I will say that that pole position qualifying, if you go back and watch it, it was pretty stellar.
Uh,
Anyway, not to take away any, not to shine on anything that they accomplished on the qualifying day. 14th, Advan Z. So that kind of finishes out the season, as it
okay.
were, for Super GT. Let's talk a little bit about how we're sitting for the year, where Nissan sat at the end of
Okay.
that competition. So unfortunately, the 300 GTRs didn't place where I wanted to. And I'm just going to say for the third place, the Realized Nissan Mechanic Challenge GTR finished out in third place.
Okay.
Normally, they've won it historically in the past few
Oh.
years. Unfortunately, not that case, but still finishing a solid third. They've been competitive all year. They really gave it their all. But unfortunately, third place is still something you can hold your head up. I won't get
Yeah.
into anything else because there's a pretty long displacement between
Hmm.
everything else in there. So I just want to give them their
Okay.
shout out for
Okay.
third place. Now, when it comes to 500 class, we've got a completely different situation. Unfortunately, first place ended up going to a Toyota,
Buh.
but that Supra, it is a very amazing car. It's been chasing us all year. If we've been showing its heels, they were showing us its heels. It's just the way it goes.
Okay.
But unfortunately, the Super did take first place for the end of the year. But a little bit of amazing news. Second place was taken by by Nissan, car number three, the Nitira Motul Z, the car that's been competitive all year long. They
Yeah.
finished strong in the points and ended up taking second place. Third was car number 23, the Motul Altec Z, that's just been consistent all year long.
Hmm.
They ended up finishing in third. And then I want to give a shout out to the formerly Celsonic, now Morelli Impulse Z, finished out in fifth, car number one.
Fifth.
So,
Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay. Well, I, it sounds like there was that battle for first. Unfortunately, the second and third
ye-
completing a podium for the
it only
year.
took one or two races, and it would have been a completely different situation. And the
Yeah.
points weren't that far off to where we could have actually came through
Hmm.
and and taken a little bit better. But it was a weird year. I mean, between that massive wreck that we had before the break,
Yeah.
that car really never kind of came back.
Yeah.
It held strong, but I mean, they were fighting everything with that vehicle for the rest of the year. So, we'll see how things play out as we start to ramp up in pre-qualifying for the next year. But I think we've got a lot of downtime before that happens. We'll have to get over the whole winter hump, and then we'll start talking about pre-qualifying and everything else that's kind of going to happen with Super GT. But again, I mean, honestly, I think it was a good year overall. So
Yeah. I
let's
know.
talk.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, last year was first, but still a solid 2-3
Mhm.
is pretty damn good, man. I
Two,
agree.
three, five. I mean, that's not bad in 500 series. So,
Yep. Yep.
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about also a more localized racing event that we love to kind of cover, which is the Nissan Challenge. Now, the Nissan Challenge, for those that do not know, is it's an 8 round event that's held for the 2023 season in collectively in California.
Yes.
Now, this has been going on for some time. I think first round was actually in February, and we have the last round. Excuse me, the latest round was round six. That was actually happening in October. That was actually the Streets of Willow. With two more rounds set to go, round seven and round eight. But what I did want to kind of talk about what happened with round six. Now, round six just finished out, and I want to talk a little bit about placement. This is broken up currently right now between four different classes. Um, and the round six was again, which was the Streets of Willow, which is actually on the back of the SR20 reunion. It had a great showing. So again, we've had some Edgar chiming in. He had some tons of pictures and things they wanted to share. I would have loved to have them before. But let's go ahead and oh, well, there you go. I
Here we
remember.
go, man. I got a few. Go
All
ahead.
right.
Keep on talking. I'll
Yeah,
I'll
keep
jump
running.
in.
Run the gallery in the background. Thanks again
Yeah.
for Edgar for sharing, because I love some of the photos and some of the stuff that's kind of coming out of the series this year. So again, let's talk about a little bit about round six. Streets of Willow. This is where this all went down. Let's talk about Class One. First place went to Miguel Santiago in his S13, which is kind of weird because normally Charles Parks dominates that series. And Charles Parks, if you're listening, what the hell, bro? Let's see here. But again, I'm glad Miguel took the first place in that position. So kudos to him. Second place went actually out to a Miguel Zuniga with rocking on a Z34, and third place went to Evan Tellez in his B13. Good job, Evan. All right. Let's go ahead into class two. First place ended up going to a Tyler Gray rocking a Q50. Good job, sir. Second place was going to a Raul Fileto in a B13. And third place was to Sonia Klaus in a Z33. It's crazy that the B13s are kicking as much butt as they can in their class,
Yeah.
right? Isn't that nuts?
That's awesome.
So, class three, let's talk a little bit about first place. First place to Adam Jha. Good kudos to him for taking it in the Z33. And then, of course, the second place, which was Nick Isidro in his Z34. And then, of course, Nate Rosso in his Z34 too as well, in second and third. So, yeah, Z33 and a 350, and then a Z30 and a 370 in the second and third. Interesting, huh?
You seeing this, man? But I don't mean to stop you. You see this?
What?
It looks
Yeah,
like some guy. One of the doors opened up mid race, man.
that
That's a
was it. He
pucker
was just
moment.
letting, he was just letting that little gas.
But
That's
he's in
all
the
that.
zone. He's not even looking, man. He's
It
just looking
don't
at the
matter.
track.
He'll close that door
I,
with the sledgehammer later on when he goes into
y-
the pits. Not a big
yeah,
deal.
keep on
Class
going, man.
four, first place was a Brian Abad. He was rocking a B14. And then, of course, we've got, let's see here, second place was Kyle Fix in a B14. And then third place was a Sandy Isaac holding it down with an S30. So, yeah, interesting. That's one thing I love about this series is just the diversity within the Nissan brand. So, look at all
Yeah,
that. Ah, man,
that's
makes me want to get
amazing,
a
man.
B.
I
It makes me want
really
to get a B13. Every time I think about it, I was like, man, I should get
okay.
a
I'll you get the B13. I'll get the 200 SX, and we'll go have some fun messing around. Rolling on 13s, man. Just hauling ass as best we can, you know.
B13. Yeah, and Edgar chimed in here just a little bit. He was unfortunately absent for SEMA. Spinny Mathenji, hi from the Adelaide, Australia. Do you want some of our weather? Currently 106 degrees. Jesus
Oh my
Christ.
God.
They're having another one of those heat bubbles. Oh my God. Remember that? I hope it's not fires again that was happening all over. And yeah, damn, dude. Just, that sucks. Right now, I don't know. I'm in San Antonio, Texas, which is, I always say, a cousin of Australia and the United States. It's what, 80 here right now, average? 70 something?
They do have a wildlife ranch out here which houses zebras and giraffes and lions, so it
You're
is
going to say
sort of
something just to
safari
make them
esque.
feel better, you know?
I'm
So,
trying. I mean, in the summer though, it can get bad, but right now for November,
oh,
106 in November. Well,
damn, that's
that's
brutal, man.
yeah, yeah.
I
Then
hope
again,
it passes for you guys. I love Australia. I need to make it there one of these days because there are tons of Nissan nerds in Australia.
oh, insane. Now again, not to be dumb, I'm going to be a dumb for a minute. Now, when you are in the southern hemisphere, that means our winters are like their summers. Is that
I'm
a
gonna
fair
say
statement?
you're public school educated, so I'm gonna say you're
Yes,
you're wrong
I'm probably
on
wrong.
every level. You're
I
probably wrong
do know that the toilets spin in a different direction. When you flush that water, it's
because of the
counterclockwise.
centrifugal force.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, that's a side
And
note.
I'm
But
wrong. Uh,
but
And you didn't
see
even
that part.
challenge me. I was wrong. I blatantly gave you wrong information. You didn't
And
even
the only
challenge
reason
me.
why I know that is because of The Simpsons. No, I'm just joking.
Is that the whole education system? So,
Yes, yes, yes.
Spinny chimed in again saying currently polishing up the 370 for a generations of Z display. Oh, nice! And at the Adelaide 500 street race in a week or two. Oh man, that's a lot of polishing for 2 weeks, brother.
Whew.
So, get in there.
Keep on doing it,
Hey,
man.
oh, hold
Currently,
on. Harold
yeah,
said we're correct. Harold said one of us is correct.
one of
So,
us. Now, Spinny Mathingi did also chime in saying, yes, correct. Springtime here. Summer begins next month. I was right. Hey, check that out. I was
that's usually
just by
got
the
lucky.
skin of my teeth. Just by the.
Yeah, you got lucky, son.
I got
So.
lucky. That's luck. That's luck. Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
this is everything that we kind of cover from motorsports, but we do like to chime in with special friends of the show. And then, of
yeah.
course,
Yes.
anything that stands out to us that is just amazingly and well done. And of
Yes.
course, we're talking about the recent information that we've got from
Yep.
our Optima Ultimate Car Challenge folks who we featured on the show here previously. Mike, you've got the news article.
Sure do. Sure do. So, if for anybody who's been watching the show, let's say within the last year, we have had actually a really good episode, number 59 for anybody who's interested. We had an interview with two people, which is Bob Sobey and Brian Vella. They are the part of the team of a 2013 Nissan GTR that has competed in the Optima Ultimate Street Car Challenge. And this is, I mean, to get full details, the best thing to do is to go to that website, or to that episode, and really get all the details that they shared with us, though. But Essentially, what the Optima Street Car Invitational is like, it's essentially a series of events, um, usually about 6 or 7. There are multiple classes of cars, but each of the cars are graded on multiple segments or tests. Examples include road rally, acceleration and braking, autocross performance, road course performance, and then you get into design and engineering of the car and what makes it unique. And this ranges, and none of these cars are stock, man. These are just some modded out amazing cars. And so, yes, in the last year, our friends Bob and Brian have competed in this Ultimate Streetcar Challenge, and last year they won. They were champions, first place of the 2022 series Streetcar Challenge. Now, fast forward to today. Um, Bob and Brian were defending their title this whole year to retain and be champions once again of this challenge. And sure enough, that's exactly what they did. And so that was what we want to do. We're going to give these guys a huge shout out and congratulations to Bob and Brian for defending their title in the Optima Ultimate Streetcar Challenge and becoming two-time champions of this series, which in their Nissan GTR. Um, Honestly, man, I couldn't be more proud and happy for them. This is their car that which they were competing with this year. It's got new livery. If you've noticed, Miles, before was a kind of a
I
white,
saw that.
different scheme. Now they've got this amazing red scheme and livery. This invitational, I believe this did take place, and if they're online, they can confirm. I believe because this it's not concurrent, but I want to say it's in the same time frame as SEMA, the final round. I
Mhm.
think this is where this was happening. And there you go. There they are, right there, man, with their awards for 2023 being the essentially number one uh, champions, two-time champions of this challenge. Um, Man, again, our interview with them and hanging out with them and talking with them, they're such down-to-earth guys. A lot of fun to be around. Really enjoyed them. Actually, here are some of the results that they shared with us too. So this kind of gets back into what I was telling you about earlier, Miles. The different segments that they have to compete in to win. Let's just look at number 2 and 3, which was a Model 3 Tesla, and you've got a Camaro. Uh, Road rally wise, they all scored 100. Okay, design wise, essentially second, Bob scored 95. Hot lap, actually outpacing the Tesla. They got a 97 in their hot lap. Autocross was a 96, essentially second place in that. And then getting into the acceleration and braking challenge, outperforming the Tesla Model 3, which is pretty cool to see because, again, EVs seem to be a threat sometimes, but not in this case. Uh, their GTR really is just top notch. Overall, though, they won first place by a margin of about 13 points, which is rather healthy, I think. And definitely want to give shout outs to them. And I think I got one more picture here. There you go. There they are with the awards, with the car. And there again is Bob. So, again, shout out to Bob and to Brian. Congratulations for having won this. And we look forward. You got to let us know. It is. Brian just chimed in. He did say at the SEMA show. That is exactly where the final
Yeah,
round
it's
took
usually where
place
it
at.
all kind of comes to fruition at that final round. So,
Yep.
man, I love the new livery. I know you're on with us here tonight, man, but I would just want to say I've watched the livery over the last few races, and man, it looks good. And by the way, the Forge line looks good. So I've just been a huge fan of their wheels, and I love their stuff. And yeah, it looks great, man. I know you have a lot to contend with. I mean, you got to make the car balance, and then of course you got to do the whole car show aspect of it too as well. So it's got to be a fully functional competitive car as well as being a fully functional show car too as well. And I know it's a lot to contend with that. And of course, you've learned a huge amount from winning last year. And for you to kind of keep everybody off your back this entire time and keep it going again another year, that says a lot, man. So kudos to you guys for throwing down a second year. And without not having to utilize an engine diaper, that is an amazing feat.
That's right, the engine diaper. Oh man, they had a massive oil leak that they were trying to control in
And
the
they
final round.
they had a massive leak
Oh,
last year, and they just wrapped it up with a diaper, and they
pig
finished it
blanket. What they
out
call it?
and
Was it
kicked
called
butt
pig?
and took the first, right? And this year, everything, all the stars aligned, and they just got it all together, and no problems from what we hear on the surface. But again, we'll have to have them on the show, and they'll tell us about all their
Talk about
trials
it.
and tribulations, and then about everything they needed to put together here to take first for a second year this time in a row. So
Now, before we get off on the motorsports, wondering since you guys are with us, is there are you trying to do a triple crown at this point?
a triple crown.
Are you trying to do three-peat?
Oh
I don't
yeah, they're trying
know
to do
if
a
it's is
triple,
it
a
too
tree
soon to
peat.
tell.
Going for a three-peat.
Oh, going for a three-peat, says Brian. That is
Don't
man, my
change the
hat's off to
livery.
you.
I kind
Don't
of like it. Keep the same
dominate, man.
sponsors. I dig the spot. I dig the layout this year. I think it looks great.
Looks
So
amazing, guys. Keep up the great work, man. Yeah, we should probably follow up, man. We need to do some more follow up and see about what's going to
now we got to
happen
get
for
Brian and Bob on
2024.
one of these days, and we'll have them tell us all the crazy stories about what it took to win this year. So we got to have them on again. So,
Yes.
and if you haven't already checked out the Optima Challenge coverage that we did with those guys, definitely want to go back and check that out. It was a great article and a great interview. A great interview with those guys. Great podcast. We had a lot of fun. So again, we'll try to get them back on here. We'll let them decompress first. And then
Relax. Yeah,
we'll
go
try to
jump in the hot tub, have some fun, look at the trophy, and then
enjoy the win.
enjoy the win, and then when it's time, it's garage time again, right? Preparations for next year.
Totally.